Monday, June 3rd, Collider Live, back on the air here with fun weekend, good weekend, relaxing weekend, kind of. And joining us, as always, is the Roxiest of Striars, Roxy Striar.
Oh, yeah, super relaxed, you know. Just did all the going to the beach and the mall.
Did you do that?
No.
No, we
I worked all the days.
You worked all Saturday.
I worked every day.
Producer extraordinaire, best hair in the biz, Mark Yodi Reilly is here. Hello, how are you?
I'm okay.
It's nice to see you.
It's nice to see you.
Good job on Friday. Fun
Thank
show.
you.
Good stuff.
That was fun.
I missed Dark Crystal talk. I wanted to talk about Dark Crystal.
We talked about it. Oh,
I
you
know.
missed it. I
missed
see.
it.
I see.
Cody
I thought
Cody Hall hitting the sound buttons in the back. Hey, being the gem that he is. Hello, Cody. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, how's the lady?
She's still pregnant, Chris.
Oh, that's good.
Still
that's
a
good.
thing.
Still a thing. Perfect. Someone who is not pregnant or with anyone that is pregnant. Hey, Alex is here. Hello, hey, Alex.
Hello.
Do you like Hey, Alex?
Hey,
is that okay?
Alex. I do, of course.
Okay, good. Hey, Alex is okay.
Hey, Alex.
There was a picture that Roxy Striar posted today. Cat's out of the bag here. You can't. This is a spoiler for people if you haven't seen the team title match between Shire Wolves and Odd Couple. Well, it went down, and the Odd Couple are the brand new Movie Trivia Schmoedown champions.
Thank you very much.
It was a hell of a match.
It was.
It's a big main event now. It's a rematch between the Shire Wolves and the Odd Couple, June 22nd, live streaming at theschmoedownlive.com. You can get those tickets now.
Yeah.
And it was a battle.
It was so close that it really could go any way on June 22nd. It really could. I think that we're going to be able to obviously pull through, but they're tough.
Yeah, they're really good. It's a good.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic match. It was a defensive battle. I talked about it a lot on the Schmoedown Rundown over the weekend with the boys, Frank Janish and Brad Gilmore, which was it would just and I also made 2 announcements on that show that it looks like in September we're going to Arizona, October we're going to Orlando. Pretty much going to lock those venues down very soon. So once again, get those tickets. Whether it's San Diego in July, New York in August, we'll be putting tickets on sale for Arizona and Orlando. So the schmoedownlive.com, where you can also get the tickets for live streaming. Not only will you see the Shire Wolves try to get those titles back from the Odd Couple, you'll also see Kevin Smets go up against Mike Kalinowski in a number 1 Inner Geekdom, a Manager Bowl, and a number 1 singles contender match. So check that out. Okay, before we get into anything, obviously. There were things that happened last week that we should probably talk about right off the bat here.
Let's do it.
I want to just kind of address the audience here and kind of let everybody know a few different things. So the first thing is there was not one person from this company that asked me to say anything, or nor was I reprimanded for anything that happened last week, nor was anyone else reprimanded for anything that happened last week. Conversations are conversations, and hashtag that's a show. That's what happens on this thing. What I did was, because Mark Fernandez is my friend, Mark Fernandez is my buddy, I called him up in just to have a conversation about things in general. And the first thing I'm going to say is, I still stand by that I think that Jedi Council should have been invited to the parks, right? Yeah. Now I see all the videos, and I see, and anytime you do something like that, you have people are gonna, and they should. There are people out there that that have blogs and stuff too that want to. Right away, fan entitlement. There's a bunch of fan entitlement videos out there. And to be fair, you can see where that would come off to where I said that I was hosting the show, Jedi Council. I was a fan. I was being a fan of Star Wars on the show for 5 years. Been a fan of Star Wars since I was 2 years old. But anyway, but the point is, I still think Jedi Council should have been invited. I don't think, and this is something that I talked about briefly, and Thad and I were just kind of going at each other. It was heated. But who I do think should be protected and should stop getting any brunt of this, and I realize that a lot of this is my fault. And I reached out to them both over the weekend. Again, no one told me to do it. Did it on my own. Spoke to both Haley Fouch and Christina Radish, and the first conversation should be directed towards Christina Radish, because Haley I'm very familiar with. Haley has been here at video for a while, so I know Haley. I've worked with Haley, and as I said on the show last week, I love Haley and want to continue to keep working for her. And I thought that working with her, and I thought that everything that she does is she just carries herself with a super air of professionalism. Christina Radish, I was not as informed. Christina Radish has been writing for Collider.com for many, many, many years. She is I think she's one of the first people that Frosty hired over here too. And she actually, when we were going back and forth on with email, couldn't have been classier. And we had some great conversations. And the thing was that my understanding was that when there was, when Disney reached out, or Disney Parks, I also want to make sure that people realize that there's two things. There's Disney Parks and there's Disney, publicity and studio, who we deal with all the time. Disney Parks had established a relationship with Christina, who is not just a freelancer, as I called her on Thursday. She's been there for a very long time. She established these relationships, so it made sense. They invited her. Now, I do think that maybe there should have been some maybe communication, and we said as much in emails that maybe if someone would have said to her, "Hey, we'd love to," maybe Christina, maybe Jedi Council could be represented, and Christina would have probably reached out and tried to see what she could do. Nobody did that. So that I want to make sure that everybody out there, it's one of these things that it shouldn't be to them. They went, they got invited, they did their coverage, they did their job. And I think that Christina and Hailey should be, don't write stuff to them that I should have been the one that went and all that. And I know, and I'm making this very clear that I understand that I was the one who did this, and I was the one that, incited this conversation. And I went, and this is the thing, to where some people said, even when Thad came in, and I told Thad afterwards. So during the break, we literally fist bumped, said, all good. But, and I stood by it and I said the fact that I would have liked him to do it outside of the maybe not on air, but he did. But and people said, well, that's the show. That's Kristian can't have it both ways. And they're right. He decided to come on the air, and we made it a thing. We made it a bit. The other person I took a shot at, and it was only because I was again in emotions, was Jermaine Lucier. Jermaine Lucier is a friend of mine, and he's a buddy of mine, and a fellow New Yorker. And I said, and it was more or less the fact that it's like, oh, and he gets to go. It was the first name that popped into my head, and so I understand where people could say, oh, Jedi Council host Harloff, he's fan entitlement. It was more about just Jedi Council in general be represented. Because the funny thing is, I couldn't even gone on that Wednesday. Yeah. I couldn't even gone. So Ken Knapsack or Emma, or to be honest, even maybe coordinating that Hailey could have went. So I get it, and there's videos, and I'm sure. I saw it today. It was funny because Red Letter Media started following me today, so I'm sure we're going to see a spoof video of me doing it, and they'll have the guy, what's his name? Not Rich, but the other guy, who's the guy with I don't know, the other guy. Yeah. But they'll do something, and they'll do another, the Nerd Crew thing, and this time they'll be screaming at the producer or something like that. So look out for that. Go subscribe to them, because I'm sure they're going to do a funny video about it.
Probably.
They probably will, and I get it, and I understand it. And I was thinking about this. Anytime we do this, anytime we have these kind of conversations, there are people out there that, they want to hear about it, they want to see what it is, and some people will understand where you're coming from, and other people, there's other people, and there's someone I know that, not know, but are aware of, that they look forward to things like that because they can then use it against you, and you put yourself out there and you do it. Yep. And that's what I did. So I understand it, and I get it, and there are people out there that are tweeting about the scenario, talking about the scenario, and I get it. That's on me, and I hold it. And I say, let's if that's what you guys want to talk about it for as long as you want, please do. Have some fun with it. Please don't push it towards Hailey and Christina, because they are professionals, they are hard workers, and the same can be said about, and that's the other thing. Mark Fernandez has done nothing but right by me from the day that I've been working with him. So I don't want anyone thinking, they're trying to bully Kristian, they're trying to do that. They're not. And again, I promise you can take me for my word or not, that not one person said to me, "Are you going to talk about this on Monday?" Not one person from this company said, "We want you to say this." I haven't heard from anybody except the fact when I talked to Fernandez, we talked about his biggest concern, and rightfully so, was that Christina and Hailey were getting some pushback. Didn't tell me to reach out to them. Just said, I just want to make sure that the fans know that. And I said, I'm going to address it. And I took it upon myself to go in and write Hailey and Christina. They're fantastic. It's the last time I really want to talk about it. I'm sure that, again, like I said, there'll be people out there tweeting, doing all that stuff. But just wanted to address it. And yeah, and that's the other thing too, where Disney Parks should they have am I required? Did I deserve to go? No, not really. Just because I'm a Star Wars fan, no. But also, did I go for the bit? Yeah, I went for the bit, and I'll continue to go for the bit, and it's fine. Not everybody gets it. Everybody will think He's who the fuck does this guy think he is? And it's warranted at this point. So, all right, moving on.
All right.
Moving on. Let's. Did you see? You know, they did a follow up. By the way, I didn't hear it yet, but Moxley was on. What's the? I was on,
Talk is Jericho?
No. Oh shit balls. He did another follow up. Wade Keller, whose show I've been on before, and I heard it's even crazier. I heard he goes after Brock Lesnar.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Just because Brock apparently he took a shot at Brock on the Jericho podcast briefly and said that Vince just lets Brock ruin his company because he pays him all this money, and that's kind of been the rumor before that Brock just comes in, takes the check, doesn't really hang out with anybody, does a thing, shows up for a couple events and bails. And I don't know if that's what he said on the show. I have no idea, but I'm going to listen to it because I think he was so fascinating to me when he was on Jericho that I want to see what he says on Keller's podcast. But did anybody? You didn't get a chance to listen.
Yeah.
No,
Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right.
Missed it.
That's okay. You did see Godzilla, though.
I went and saw Godzilla.
Sorry, do you have a
Did
question?
Brock say anything?
About it?
Yeah.
I have no idea. Like someone sent it to me last night. Someone sent it to me or told me about it last night. Said, "Did you look at the follow-up?"
See, this is where I just think he's stepping out of line.
Really?
Yeah, I definitely do. I
You
definitely
think he's being
do.
too open?
Being too open, and I know that over here that's the policy, hashtag that's the show, and we do air a lot of stuff
Yeah.
out. But it's different. It's different, and I don't think that that's right to do to your fellow, like it's your coworkers, even though you're not there anymore.
Right.
So I don't know. I would never ever do what he's doing. I think that it's really selfish, self-centered.
He's not, and to be fair to him, he's not the only person. Not to say it's right or wrong, but he's not the only person that has left WWE and then shot. It's, in the wrestling terms, you know, they're shooting on people.
Yeah.
Right? So
Okay.
I think it's okay to talk about the things that you wish you had there, like, you know, John Oliver's piece, even though he was not there. But if somebody wanted to say, you know, I didn't love the freelance part of it, the health insurance part of it, the part that I couldn't go work anywhere else and I want more freedom, but to pick different wrestlers and knock them down like that,
no, yeah, I mean, well,
it's not for me.
that's fair. And I also haven't heard the second part of the interview, or not second part, but the
I haven't
second
heard
interview.
anything. This is all second. Now this
Second,
is you
right.
hearing me, hearing you.
Hearing you, but
So,
well, you heard the first one, so
Yeah,
you're
that's
saying
true.
if he carries on, but I just like how open he is about it. I want to see how he does it, and we'll keep listening. We'll keep a tab on that story because I also think that it's publicity, man, and it's something now because that's the other thing from him being as open as he is. And getting more eyes on it, that means more eyes are going to be on AEW. So it's not a bad thing. It
Case in
really
point,
is
right here.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you talking about it, and now I know nothing about wrestling.
Right.
Now I know about AEW.
right.
Has it stuck with you who he is?
Not really.
But you've heard about him
I-
twice now.
I know I've heard
Yeah.
about him twice,
Right.
and I catch up on this stuff when you bring it up on the show, and I try to be involved in the conversation because I'm always peripherally involved.
Right. The other thing I wanted to discuss over the weekend, there was a big title fight. There's a big. There was. What's so funny is that was it Wilder who lost the title? I think it was Wilder who got knocked. I don't even follow it anymore. Yeah, it was Wilder. But Dante Wilder got knocked out against. No, is that the truth? No, it's not.
While
Sorry.
you're looking it
Anthony
up-
Joshua. It was Anthony Joshua. Sorry, guys. Like I said, I used to be. I was.
I know, you
15 years ago, if that sentence came out of my mouth, I would have punched myself in the chin. But Anthony Joshua lost the
chin?
title. He was undefeated champion. Lost to Andy Ruiz Jr., who was. This is bigger upset than even Buster Douglas back in the day.
Clearly, you're very upset.
No, not upset for me, but just a big upset in general. But it was the reason I bring it up is that my buddy Mike Citizen sent me this thing where they show the actual knockout, and because the internet these days, you literally see the knockout or a shot, and his soul leaves his body, and then the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme starts playing, and he gets on a train. The soul gets on a train, and it's really funny.
That's
So,
amazing.
Yeah. So
Do you want to do that thing where I read your notes upside down?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Goldie Mick.
Oh, that's what that is.
Grump.
Okay,
Goldie McGrump.
Goldie McGrump. Okay, he's
Right.
coming in at noon.
Staff of
No.
urine.
No, sure, staff of urine or staph urine infection. Okay.
Next block.
That's a good one. That one.
Next
we'll talk
block.
about that one.
Dad Netflix.
Nice. That
I
one
did
you
that.
hit. You hit that one. So you got one.
We Tweet Dream.
No, close. But Tweet was right.
Okay. SD title Collision.
There you go. So you got that. We did that already.
And that's the tease for the show today. Now you know what you're going to get into.
That is. But you know what I wanted to tell you, this is on Saturday, and I didn't get a chance to tell you this when I saw you on Saturday because you worked, which is great. We posted pictures of this. You and Emma called a match together. It's the first time. I didn't even know this. It was the first time that we had two ladies kind of calling the match. You guys crushed it. It was really good. I don't want to say which match it was yet.
Yeah, Emma was so great, though.
She knows the rules inside and out.
I couldn't believe it. because I just haven't seen her in that seat very often. And thank God.
Yeah, she's a utility, but you just started. You don't be hard on yourself. She's been around it.
Too,
she rolls it out, and I just sit there.
You're the color.
Yeah,
you're the color.
Yeah.
It's funny because we filmed so much on Saturday, like so much. I thought we were supposed to film like 5 scenes. We filmed 16.
You were running, or I wish people could have. I wish we were filming you filming scenes. Yeah. It was unbelievable. Like people were dying watching you. You were like, and to the left, and to over there, and move this way, like an evil genius going around.
It was fun. We had some really good ones. There's one that I can't wait for the collision that we shot. That it's just incredible. But anyway,
are you just thinking of these on the fly? Like it was literally like a. I wish there was some track playing behind you. You were doing like sorceress stuff.
Well, there was
pointing your hands.
Well, but there was everything that's happening as far as the storylines go. I do an outline of the stuff that I want to get and people that I hope are there, and that way I can get this if they're there. I don't really. I usually know what I want when they're there, and then know what they are able to do. And I took the philosophy of what I talked about with AEW and WWE, like the stuff that Moxley had a problem with. Right, a full script. I don't give full scripts. Because I don't think that's helpful to the characters, right? I think that for me, I'd like you to hit this moment, at least hit this line because that's important. And then if you improv, like you're never going to get a full take out of Dagnino of saying everything I want him to say. He's going to go off and do his thing. You don't want him to. You want him to do you want to be able to do Dagnino his way. And same goes with Roca. Roca and Dagnino did a scene together, and it's amazing. But I let them kind of do their own thing. I have the outlines, but then the other thing is you don't know who's going to show up. Like, you ask people who are going to show up to shoot the scenes, but then there's other people who show up just to watch the matches. And I go, I have you here. Can I grab you for this? And I did that a handful of times because we have to get so much stuff for Collision because we're doing it live that we want to show the scenes like during the Collision. So, but all that stuff's coming. All that stuff is coming for sure. But that's not what I want to tell you. What I want to tell you was that that morning when I was leaving, you remember the neighbor that I told you about? The guy that was
loud on the headset?
Loud on the phone that was walking back and forth. And I walked up to him and I was like, how's this going to go?
And you haven't seen him again? He was perfectly pleasant?
The first time I saw him, he was very, and when I asked him, he was very pleasant. I said, hey, the kid's sleeping if you could. And he's like, oh, and I've never seen him do it ever again.
Exactly.
So I was taking the belts out of my, and bringing them to the office. And he was standing in front of my car. Not on the phone, standing in front of my car. And in my head, and he's like, hey, how's it going? And I go, give him the nod, how's it going? And I think to myself, I'm going to say something. So I say, hey, I just want to let you know something. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, I talked about you on the show that I do. And he's like, you did? What'd you say? And I go, remember that day you were walking back and forth, and I came over to you, and I said to you, hey, can you, if you don't mind, I got the kids sleeping.
Keep it down.
And I said, if you don't mind, I said, that usually goes one of two ways. It either goes one way if somebody goes, well, come on, relax, man, I'm on the phone. Or the other way, what you did, which you were very cool and cordial about it. He's like, no, man, my wife's a doula. Like I understand like how it comes. This I'm around with babies and everything too. You gotta be respectful. And he's just no, I get it. He's like my wife kicks me out of the house because I'm too loud. And he's like he's a producer on a reality show that my wife actually happens to watch.
Did you know that prior to this?
I did not. I did not. But he was a great dude. Like nice. Great, we had a conversation. Just a nice guy. Invited us to a taping of the show, and just like.
Are you gonna
go? Probably, maybe, I'll take him up on it. But like, he was just.
You should bring him in here.
I should. I told him because I can just say what is he a producer on The Voice, and because I told him we had the two winners on before, and he told me a funny story about kind of how he got involved with a lot of it. And we were talking like 15, 20 minutes. But I told my wife, I was like. Look at that. You see, you think right away, and I'm learning stuff all the time, Rox. Learning stuff all the time. You see, you judge someone when they're walking back and forth. I go, because I remember when he's back and forth. I go, look, and I even said it, I think on here, the meeting's not that important, pal. When it comes to the fact the guy's just a loud dude like Ellis.
It's crazy that you can't prepare for how somebody is going to react. Because you just don't know. In your mind, you can think it's going to go one way 100% based on all of this information that you have. You've seen him do this all the time. You think you built this up in your head. He's going to be a dick about it. And he's like, yeah, no problem.
Sweetheart of it. Just a really good guy. Like the casting was wrong.
Yeah.
Like the casting was wrong as far as the annoying neighbor. He was anything but that. He was actually like he's a really good dude. He was a really good dude. I was happy to meet him. So.
When is he doing Schmoedown?
I don't know. I didn't ask him.
Okay, damn.
Kind of related, can I tell you that there has not been one piece of shit on my lawn since I said something to her?
See?
Not
See?
one piece.
So for those tuning in for the first time, Roxy had a problem with her neighbor because the neighbor was dropping dumps. Not her, but the dog.
That would be such a different problem.
That would be a very different problem if the lady was taking dumps on the thing. But no, the dog was taking dumps, and Roxy finally said something, and it looks like she doesn't let the dog dump on the grass anymore.
Remember, she gave that weird excuse like, "Sorry, I ran out of bags. I'll get them soon." And I was like, "Oh, this is never gonna go away."
Yeah,
Next
that's what I
day,
thought.
She just stopped.
Until now.
Yeah, she probably don't want to hear about it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it's easier to pick up poop that takes about 4 seconds than
Right.
to get a long novel from me.
Right.
I said novels in these cases. Novels. Yeah, because I want to explain where I'm coming from.
All right, I get it.
It can never just be like, hey, would you mind picking up the poop? It's like, hey, so can I tell you about my childhood and where I come from and why this is important to me
Right.
and who I'm bringing over and how it start my day?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's actually helpful, but she got a chunk from me.
Good. And what about you? What did you do this weekend? Anything good?
Yeah, lots of
What'd you
birthday
do?
parties.
Okay.
Yeah, and then God's
No,
who's?
just random people. People you didn't even know.
We weren't invited.
We were actually to the one on Saturday. I didn't get
The
a
one on
chance to
Saturday.
go.
Yeah.
I was not.
Oh, sorry.
You weren't?
Well, I don't know what to tell you.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I think I know whose it was. Yeah, I was not invited.
Really? All right, well, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I went.
Well, you went.
And Friday it was my writing partner and dear friend and from college. It was her birthday.
Oh, nice.
So Lisa got me. Yeah.
Cool.
So silent disco party.
Silent
Roxy.
disco party. True.
I don't know if you've ever been to those.
I've watched it on Girls.
I'm not a fan.
Really?
No.
Of what? What is this now?
Now you
put
on
the headphones on?
You put these headphones on, and there's stations.
Okay.
And you can then turn on the station, and then you can have music but only in your own headphones. And then you'll see another person, and they have the blue switch on, and you have the red, and they're doing this, and you're doing
So you're
this.
dancing with them?
Yeah.
It's different stuff.
And I don't like it at all because you're sitting there not being able to talk
like
to
my
them. They're
dad.
like, "What are you listening to?" Yeah, I'm old for this now.
Because there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the.
Yeah, it's very fascinating to me.
We just passed our time. Because
It's way better. So I would take
love
it
this.
off.
I've never been, but it seems great.
Yeah, this is like for Roxy's.
When
we're
I'm
total
dancing,
farts.
don't talk to me.
Oh, all right.
I want the music to be playing so that everybody's dancing.
But everybody is dancing,
But they're just dancing with headphones on.
which is great
I'll tell
because
you why
when
I
I'm
like
dancing,
this.
don't talk.
I'll tell you why I
Yeah.
like. You know why I like this, Reilly? Because
Why?
it's quiet.
Quiet.
It is.
And
Because
because
then
you
it
know
was-
what? Because my other neighbors, who I love, now I do. They're great.
They're loud.
They need these headphones.
Yeah.
They need these headphones. And I'll tell
That's
you,
a
think that
great
would help.
idea.
you might probably make them louder.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. You know what it was is that one. Actually, it wasn't even. To be honest, one of the guys, the medical students, graduated, right, and his family was over. So it's like
That bastard.
Right. So exactly. So I was like, they should be partying for as long. The guy just graduated from med school, and he's
and it's
probably
his
a sweetheart.
family.
And it's his family. So hey, shut up, Grandpa.
Doesn't that suck when that happens though? Like you want to get mad at somebody, but they're doing something totally kind.
It was
and fun.
super kind,
Yeah.
and the kid is the guy is like the nicest human being in the world.
Yeah.
But anyway, so but the reason I laugh about this with you and the technology is that I talked to my dad this morning, and he.
Oh, is this the
Dad
Netflix?
Netflix.
But I was talking.
Here we go.
But I was talking to him and when I was on the phone with him today, because he got a new dog, and we were talking about his dog for a while, and then and then he's like, yeah, can't do the Netflix, just can't do it. I go, why? He's like, no, I just can't do it. Because they turn on the PlayStation and it's too much. And I go, you don't like technology? Never have. And he's like, I got to push buttons. Nah,
Yeah.
not pushing buttons. So, so he just turns on his cable and watches whatever he wants to watch.
Buttons is where the line is.
That's it. He doesn't want to figure it out. He doesn't want to scroll through stuff. And there's a lot of shows on there that he would love, but he's never going to see them.
We bought Netflix for my mother.
Oh, yeah? How'd that go?
About 2 years ago. in
You got
a
her
year-
a subscription,
a subscription
or
that
was
we
there
would.
like a Roku situation?
No,
How
we
did
bought
she-
her subscription. So
Okay.
we, so
you
my
can just
sister
stream
and
it
I,
on her TV or whatever?
So we would just, take care of the bill for her. And a year after we did that, we were talking. It was on Christmas, and we were talking about it. And I go, yeah, Mom has Netflix now, and she's like, yeah, I have never figured it out. And I went, you wait,
paid for it for a
we
year.
paid a year,
And
and
she
you
never told you about it?
did. And so
It's like $150.
she's like, it hasn't worked.
Especially now, it's what,
Yeah.
$16 a month.
She,
lot
and
of
she
money.
said it hasn't worked at all. And I went, well, what? We set it up. We did this. She's like, I don't know. I don't know what happened. And so then I went in, logged in. She's been watching ever since.
Oh,
so
good.
it's good. She
There you
just
go.
never
Perfect. Just never
realized
tried to-
how to log in.
As much as I give my mother-in-law crap, she figured it out pretty quick.
Really?
Yeah, she figured it out pretty quick. She was, it's like, I remember she didn't have it. It's what? Streaming? Mm-hmm. What does that do? And then she's just such a movie junkie that she figured it out. On TV
That's
junkie
good.
too, so she figured it out. What was I going to ask you? Oh yeah, Netflix, because Netflix at $16. That's.
Do you guys not share it with anybody?
No, are they going to drop? Are they going to drop their prices?
They're gonna have
in
to.
October. They're going to have to because when Disney Plus comes out at $6.99,
I don't think so.
you don't think they're going to drop prices?
I don't think so.
Even if they start getting pummeled?
I don't think they're gonna get pummeled.
No.
I mean, are you guys did you guys watch When They See Us, the Ava DuVernay
I want to see that.
4-part doc that just came on about the Central Park boys?
Oh, I saw. It wasn't a doc. It's a movie.
It's a movie. It's
Sorry,
like
not doc.
Yeah, it's a movie.
Not a movie. It's a TV show. It's a miniseries.
Did she direct that?
Miniseries, yes,
Oh
she directed
shit! Okay, yeah,
it.
because I
I'm
saw
gonna
the
check it
show.
out.
I was sort of looking at
I
it.
just finished part 3, so I'm about to be on part 4.
And is it amazing?
I mean, it needs to win all the things.
It's great.
Like,
Okay.
holy crap! But like,
Yeah.
you
Opening scene was
want
great. I saw the opening scene.
when you're watching it though, you just feel so sick.
Yeah.
Inside, like you just.
I watched the doc, the actual doc.
Yeah, sorry, it was not a doc. It's a
So
miniseries.
people who are lost, what is it about, Reilly? The doc.
It's about the Central Park 5 are
Yeah.
these kids that were in Central Park, and a jogger was.
Yeah.
When you're talking about kids,
80s,
like
right?
an 8-year-old kid,
Right. Yeah.
12, 14, 16.
And this was like 89 or
15.
something. Is that what it was?
I want to say maybe 90s.
I thought it was 90s.
Maybe,
yeah.
maybe. I remember
That's
the. I remember the story. Obviously, living in Queens. So
right.
Go ahead, please.
So this jogger was then beaten severely
Yeah.
and raped, and they were charged. They were there. They believed that they were all there, and that it all pointed to there. Well, as the evidence starts coming out, come on, it's not.
Right.
And people it became this movement where everybody is saying they did it, they need justice, and then later on, finally somebody steps forward and says, no, I did it. And it was a guy that had raped so many women and I believe murdered women,
Yeah.
and he finally came forward and
To get these
They
guys
were
out.
convicted in 1990.
they were
Right, yeah.
yes, they were
89,
convicted
90, yeah.
and put in jail for many years.
This mini-series, though, shows the behind-the-scenes of what the police force was doing and how they got these 5 children
Yeah.
to admit to doing something that they did not do on
Wow.
tape. I've never in my life actually thought about throwing my computer down on the ground to
wow.
break it because you're sitting there just like crying, screaming for
Yeah.
them.
How long did they go to jail for?
For anywhere from 7 to 13
Holy
years.
Yeah.
shit! That's how long they were in jail
For 7 to 13 years, and I didn't know this part, but one of them, what I just saw,
Yeah.
went back. So like,
What, because he
came out, couldn't make money,
Just ruined his life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and went back. Insanity, and some of the kids went to juvie, but one of the kids who was 16, they put in prison, adult prison.
Damn.
Which I'm so confused on that too, because to me, 16, are you not? Is that not?
Sometimes they'll try you as adult.
As an
if
adult,
you're
so he was
close.
tried differently from, and the only reason the 16-year-old, this is the craziest part of the story. I don't think this is spoilers because this really happened, right? So
Yeah, go ahead.
he wasn't even originally getting part of this, the guys that were getting brought into the police station. He was with his best friend, and his best friend was getting called to the police station, and he was like, I'm going to go with you and wait in the waiting room. That's what your mom would want me to do. We're buddies.
Yeah.
He goes to wait in the waiting room, and the best friend's getting interrogated. The best friend's mom comes in and is like, you can't talk to my son. I'm taking him home. I'm taking him out of
Right,
here.
right.
And so they need another person because they've created this case around 5 boys. So they bring in the boy from the waiting room.
That's fact? Holy shit.
That's what the miniseries shows.
Wow, that's
he
crazy.
wasn't even supposed to be at the police station. His name was not on a list, and they pulled him in because he was waiting for his friend.
Is he the kid in the opening scene with his dad talking about baseball? That's what I saw. I saw the opening scene. Opening scene. He's talking to.
I would have to re-see.
Shoot. But anyway,
I'd have to rewatch.
Well, it sounds like a good.
I got to see this.
DuVernay has made such strong choices.
This is the type of
so
movie,
powerful.
and this is the type of stuff she should be doing. She's so strong on social media, and she's so strong with the causes and stuff. This is the type of stuff that you want to see her do.
But to your question on, do I think Netflix is going to drop their prices if they keep delivering content like this? This is the stuff that Disney is not going to bring you. So I think that they need to find this area,
Right.
and it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be just this kind of thing because people aren't making things like this all the time. But if they find their corner, I would pay $20, $25, $30 a month to see things like it's so
worth it for you.
Yeah, because you can't just bury your hand in the sand and not know.
Yeah, that's fair.
Especially this story.
And she weaves Trump into the story in such Trump is so a part of what's happening, and I had no idea about his storyline in this as well. I don't know if that's in the doc. But
it's in the doc.
Extremely vocal about like how the death penalty needed to come back. They needed to kill these guys, and
Wow.
It was so
It was a
eerie.
movement. It was very much a precursor to what can happen on social media,
right.
where they want convictions. All signs point to this, and there was a movement. Put them away.
No
put them to death. It was across the board on the media covering.
I remember like those. I mean, because like I said, when in that time. That's why I said 89, 90 is what I thought.
Just convict these guys, get them out.
That was, and it was like those are the people who did it. And so when you're, especially when I don't know, when you're my age at that point, young kid, you just hear about it. You go, all right, well they caught him, and then you move on.
They wanted justice,
that's because that's probably the narrative that they were with. We found somebody. We found somebody.
I think, though, that what the doc kind of did a good job, not the doc, the miniseries did it felt like a documentary, but the miniseries did such a great job showing was that the police officers so badly wanted to find out who did this to this woman, to protect this woman, and that it felt like the lawyers so badly wanted that. It felt like they really believed their own lies.
Right.
Like they really
thought convinced themselves.
They convinced themselves.
Well, what about the woman? I forgot. Did she ever make it? Did make it out?
She did. Yeah. So she lost her memory, and she couldn't walk well. She lost her sense of smell.
So she didn't
her
know
hearing.
who attacked her.
She had no idea.
She
testified and said, I truly don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah. But she didn't wrongfully say.
No, she didn't.
Right.
She didn't say it was them, but she didn't say it wasn't.
Right.
And that's like a lot of people think that put the nail in the coffin for them because she didn't say it wasn't, but she really.
She didn't know.
She didn't know.
Wow.
She didn't know.
All right. Well, look. That's Ava DuVernay. I would tell anybody to go check that out for sure.
Oh, it is.
Check that out on Netflix. I'm gonna watch it. It was funny.
Too.
I started watching. I really liked it. I didn't realize that she did it. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I think produced as well, maybe.
I'm sure.
But
I'm sure she did.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But going on a little bit of lighter stuff too. Well, maybe not for Reilly because Godzilla didn't really deliver too well in the box office.
I know.
What did it do? 50?
It did 49.
49 in the first
49
one. Cody, what did the
millions.
first one do?
About 90, I think.
About 90. It's funny because I liked King of Monsters better than I liked the first one. I thought that the fights were definitely. You got a little bit more of Godzilla, not too much, but a little bit more. The fights were pretty awesome, and like I said on the show last week, I think that the movie delivers. If you're going there to watch the fights, and you're going there to watch the monsters, and you're going there to watch like just the spectacle, it delivers on all fronts.
Loved it.
But there are some people who do want to see. Well, first of all, they just got to get rid of the human characters in general because the movie could have been an hour and a half with just the monsters. You don't need
I need humans.
I know, but the human story was so bad.
I
didn't
did
see
not
it.
get that.
Really? Oh,
I thought it was fine.
Dialogue was terrible.
You're the
The
first person
dialogue,
I heard say that.
the dialogue was. I mean, this movie. What I loved about it, it knew exactly what it wanted to
Well,
be.
that's true. I agree with that.
And it was
for sure.
just like the dialogue was there. I mean, I felt like I was watching a throwback to some of those
like the
big
70s.
actions.
Oh, I was thinking the Godzilla 70s ones.
Well, no,
It felt
not
like
just
though,
that,
because
but just like little hints of that.
Yeah.
That Doherty knew he was like referencing these great fights, and I could see it. But then, and I would have moments of my childhood where I'm like, I remember watching this with my dad. But then the human characters, 70s like the 79 version of King Kong with Jeff Bridges and like some of these monster movies like Independence Day. I had some flavor there. I loved it.
Yeah, good.
I'm just a huge monster guy.
Good.
If they're gonna eat people,
And it worked.
Yeah.
You got it. See, the monsters, so that's the part that delivered me for sure. And I like Kyle Chandler and Vermiga and obviously Millie Bobby Brown. But, you know, it just didn't deliver, and it's gonna have some problems now because now the summer season's starting to kind of heat up. Because what do we have this week? We have X-Men, and Secret Life of Pets 2.
I care literally zero about that.
No, huh?
Zero. Okay. Not going to see it.
I didn't love the first one.
Didn't see it.
Didn't
I
see
like
it.
the first
I
one.
didn't love the first one. I wanted to love the first one. I didn't love it, but obviously I was driving the other day and I was like, they had, because I never remember hearing about it, and I'm sure that they talked about it in a movie talk, but when Secret Life of Pets 2, I said to myself driving, I'm like, they had to have replaced Louis C.K., right?
They did.
And I know, but I'm like for a kids movie, I'm like, I'm like, I've heard nothing. I've heard no controversy about how the hell is he still in this movie. So he had to have. And of course, the best replacement they ever could have gotten was Patton Oswalt. Of course.
That's
Patton
great.
Oswalt is doing Max now, which is actually, to be honest, probably should have done the first one too, because Patton Oswalt is was so good in Ratatouille, obviously. What's wrong?
I'm biting my tongue on something. Move forward.
Do you have to?
I think so.
Okay. Hey, listen, I can relate too much now. It's funny. And again, that's what we do on the show. And I think that's the other thing that I'm proud of with the show is what I will say too, is that I don't believe that there are a lot of shows. There are a lot. I mean, there are a lot of shows out there that are honest. There are a lot of shows out there that people do speak their mind. And there are sometimes when shows just have to, because of what it is, have to be professional and just kind of, not that we're not professional, but you know what I mean, like just to kind of do the stories, do the stuff, and I that's why I get bored with just doing that. You know, I like the conversations and talking to people, and sometimes you have moments like Thursday. You know, sometimes you have moments like that, and I'll probably, to be honest, I'll probably have them again, and then we'll do. It's just the show is the show, and you watch the show
them many times,
and it's you know, it's just like I said, it's a thing.
I just like really encourage people to think if every word that they said in their day was on camera. Like,
right.
Like almost every word I say in a day.
I know, and to be fair, because I thought about it too, and it's like everybody has those conversations. Like if you, especially because like you go back to it, right, so where if there was first time, because that clip's going everywhere now from Thursday, and if that's the first time you saw me, you'd say, "Who's this entitled asshole?" So the clip, this one guy pieced out the way they made he pieced it out.
Yeah, and he didn't even put my heroic moment in there, which I was so bitter about.
Well, yeah, but I knew that he was going to do that because he's
fine.
Well,
that's his brand.
That's his, and you know what? I gave him the material. He took the material and he ran with it. But the point is that if you see that's who you see for the first time. You go, who is this entitled asshole? And that's fair. But then do those people come back for other conversations that we've had or other things that we've talked about? But the thing is, Rox, like you said, when we are putting ourselves in the position also every day that we can choose what we say, and so those people who are watching, they don't have to say to themselves, "Well, I'm going to think about what I would say."
This is the life we chose.
That's the life we chose.
100%.
And I understand that, but it's
me too. It just sometimes I slip up.
Yeah.
I've done it a couple of times in the last few
You're
months.
a human being?
Yeah, I swear I am.
Yeah, and it's fine, and it's like I said, it's one of those things. My head's down, I'm taking the hits, and you push on forward. That's what happens. All right, news.
What do you think's happening?
It's the Godzilla roar.
Godzilla roar.
Figured that would break the tension a little bit there.
I don't think there's tension. You thought it was tension, Cody?
Not tension, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's but
Lighten the mood.
Lighten the mood, and we'll do it. Well, we're definitely gonna lighten the mood at 11 o'clock because we got comedian Steve Byrne coming in.
Yeah.
I am so excited to talk with him. Holy, because that's the other thing I did this weekend.
You watched his doc, and he talked about his doc last time, The Amazing Johnathan. You know, he talked about it.
Always amazing.
Yeah, but it's about The Amazing Johnathan, comedian. And he talked about it last time he was on the show, and I think he was performing with Ellis over the weekend in Vegas.
Oh, I saw they put like a Rat Pack picture together. Did you see that?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw it.
That was cool.
But you watched
Can
it.
I come? I did. I watched it. It was so well done. I did not know who the amazing Johnathan was. I don't know if that's embarrassing to admit out loud,
No,
but
not necessarily. I think it's before your time as
I
far as when he
didn't.
was really.
I only learned about him the last time that Steve came on the show.
Right.
So I was really excited and looking forward to this with zero expectation going into it. And after leaving this, I'm a really big fan of his.
That's awesome.
Which I think is the best thing that a doc could
That's
do.
the goal, right? Yeah.
It just showed it showed a real person, a very flawed, slightly insane, very gifted person.
Yeah.
And I don't even. It made you Google things along the way, like you know
Cool.
when you're watching something
Right.
and you have to pause to be like, wait a second, what?
Right.
And then you're looking for it, and it's like, oh, that's real.
That's awesome.
That's a thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, you remember when he was in here last he said that's what he wanted. It was because he had he's done his feature and then he wanted to do this doc. He was passionate about this thing. So anytime you lead in with passion, especially for this particular friend has. So it's I'm curious. I'm very curious to talk to him when he gets in here.
But then I was looking it up, and it looks like there's another amazing Johnathan movie coming out this summer as well. So I'm curious what the difference, because it's a doc coming out this
another
summer
doc.
as
Interesting.
well.
Well, he got there first.
Yeah, I'm just curious about that. And I believe you guys probably know better that it comes out today. The Always Amazing.
right.
Yeah, it does.
Is it
Yeah.
on digital and
I'm still waiting for. We're gonna ask him.
Confirmation.
Yeah, I think
we're gonna
Hulu-
ask
I
him
think
straight
Hulu
up
or
because I
something,
know
but-
he said I want to promote it this week,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's why we targeted
yeah,
today.
we will let people know. But it is like an hour and 10 minutes.
Worth it.
It was
Yeah.
way more than worth
Yeah.
my time.
Fans loved him when he came in last time, and he'll come in here again. He was on Schmoes when we had back in the day. We talked Superman stuff, but he's also a big he's a big movie fan. So we'll probably save the Indiana Jones stuff to talk to him about. But
I want to find a way to get amazing Johnathan in here.
I know. Well, we'll maybe talk to him afterwards and see if maybe we can hook that up. But Reilly, let's. Do we have any time to talk about news? What time is it?
Yeah, we got time. It's 10:42.
Okay, we got time. Let's
Yeah,
talk
got
about some
plenty
news.
of time.
Let's do it.
How do
No.
you not know what time it is, Kristian?
I know because I didn't look.
Because there's no clock in here. There's no clock in
I
this
know.
live production facility.
Didn't look. All right, now I'm looking. Go ahead.
All right, for news.
Yes.
That's what you want? Because we got some breaking.
Okay, what is it?
Breaking
News.
What's the
I had to
breaking
look
news?
it up. Thank you for the chat for alerting me. Looks like over here at Yahoo, they're saying that Keanu Reeves
Yes.
is going to join the Eternals.
Oh,
I
wow.
saw this. This was rumored
Okay.
this weekend.
I saw the rumors, and then I clicked on this Yahoo Entertainment saying in talks. So let me get to the bottom of this real quick. This is the first time I'm seeing it. The
Yeah.
Eternals is reportedly in negotiations to appear in Marvel's new movie, which centers on a group of immortal beings who possess godlike abilities.
This is the one that Angelina Jolie.
Angelina Jolie
is,
is a part of it. Richard Madden
Wow.
Yeah.
is a part of it. Oh God, it's a good cast.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm in. Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Well,
He's joining
You
the
know how
MCU.
much I love the Matrix.
This
know.
could be big.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's just so hard to get overly excited about this movie. We'll see.
Because you don't know a lot about
I
him.
don't know
Yeah,
anything about it.
I
know-
don't-
It's
yeah,
like
I don't know.
it's like Guardians. When Guardians was announced, so we didn't really know a lot about it yet. And
Except
Yeah.
at that point, we were still riding that Marvel high wave, and now it's a whole new world. It's a
New
whole
phase.
new phase,
Yeah.
and I bet it's bomb.
well, who
But
steps
we'll
up?
see.
That's also the thing. Who steps up and who? It's very similar if you put it in like wrestling terms, right? Like once like the big draw goes, who's the next to be the big draw? Because now that Iron Man and Cap are not in the front and center anymore.
Right.
Who does? I mean, obviously they tell you have your ideas of who could take the lead and who could be the one, but the fans really tell you. The fans tell you through box office, and the fans tell you like who they want, because once again, nobody knew that Iron Man, that Robert Downey Jr. at that time was going to step up and be who he was for the next 12, 13 years. Whatever
Yeah.
it was.
Do you think with names this big, they're signing them to multi-picture deals?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think anytime Marvel does stuff now, because
And you
that,
think Angelina Jolie would do that?
I think that yes, she would, because otherwise I don't think they would do it, because they've been down this road before to
Yeah.
where look at Joaquin Phoenix for Doctor Strange. You know, they had that was the big thing. Is that it was.
How great would that have been?
Well, I mean, but once again, it's maybe not. Maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you wouldn't have liked it. Maybe you would have been that because you
You're
said
right.
you don't
It's
like
not
the character.
performance. Yeah,
You said you don't like the character.
You know,
which
100%. It's not him. He's great.
Yeah, he would just have his take on it, but it would be the same character. But I think that that you have to lock him down because they couldn't lock Joaquin Phoenix down. He didn't want to be locked down to that, and here we go. So
I
that's
think smart move on Joaquin's part, by the way.
Yeah, well, look. I mean, that's he knows what he's comfortable with, and he knows what he wants to do. And now you got the Joker now out of it. When does
For
that
the
come out
kind
again?
of October, for the kind of thing of this year.
Yeah.
For the kind of actor he's trying to be, being tied into that role for 5 to 10 years. I mean,
I don't think he
it just-
wanted it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Now I'm reading this. Yahoo's saying Reeves had been lined up to play Jan-Rog in Captain Marvel, but scheduling conflicts prevented him from doing so, and Jude Law was cast.
Oh, interesting.
So he's been
talking to them.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I think he's going to sign on for multiple, and I wonder
How do you
how
think-
many of these A-listers now want to be a part of Marvel because of what they've been doing.
Right.
I think they really are like circling that, going, yeah, I'll sign up for.
Going
a few.
back to the first thing you just said, I think Jude Law is a better fit for his role.
Yeah.
But going to the second thing you said, yeah, I think that if you're an A-lister who has done the stuff that you felt like you needed to accomplish and you're having some fun, why not?
Right.
Which I think a lot of these people have.
Right.
But if you haven't accomplished yet what your goal as an artist was, and this isn't part of that, then it's tough.
It's true, and especially the fact now that he's coming off of John Wick, which people love, all three of those movies, and this is good for him.
This
All
is
right,
the kind of actor he is.
And I'm going to classify this as still a rumor. It's coming from MCU Cosmic. I'm not too familiar with that, so Yahoo is covering that story. Right now, it's just kind of a rumor.
Okay.
So I'll leave it at that.
All right, cool. All right, what's next?
What's next? Well, we did touch on box office. Godzilla did underperform, $49 million. Aladdin dropped about 53%.
Not in my house.
Snagging another $42 million.
Daughter won't stop about that. movie.
However, Rocketman, and it's now $185 million domestic for Aladdin.
Yeah, what did Rocket Man do?
Rocketman came in at third and with $25 million.
Okay.
And which is well above the 18 to 20 million
So they thought it was gonna
Paramount
be.
was
Projected.
expecting.
That's good.
Ma came in at fourth with 18 million
see
and did over projected there.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. So yeah.
Well, there's John Wick 3 at number 5. With already made 125 domestic, and then obviously you look at the Avengers, which
Avengers is closing in on Avatar.
Yeah, I mean, but it's still got to make another $80 million or something, right?
I think it'll do it now.
You think so?
I think it's going to
Well,
happen.
You've been saying that from the beginning. So,
I've been
He
going back
wavered.
and forth. I have
Oh, you
wavered.
did?
Yeah, last week we were like, oh, they got to make at least 100 million more, and then they got up there this past weekend
they just
because
took
of
it
all
out
the.
but they also took it out of a lot of theaters this weekend.
How many movies on this top 10 list have you seen?
This year has probably been the year that I've seen the least amount of movies. So
God,
I've
me
seen
too.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've seen 5 out
I've
of the
only
10.
seen 5 also.
Yeah, I've seen 5. Oh, 6. I saw 6 out of the 10. I saw Pokemon, I saw Avengers, I saw John Wick, saw Rocket Man, saw Aladdin, and saw Godzilla. So I missed out on Brightburn. Still haven't seen that.
Yeah.
And I missed out on Booksmart, which I really want to see. And I missed out on Ma. So those are the 3 that I missed.
Well, you're missing 4 if you've seen 6.
Well, what's the other one? The Hustle.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Good point. Thank you.
Ding.
All right,
Math,
let's
math.
do. Thank you. Let's do one more story. Then we'll take a break early.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
You sick of us?
Water. Lots of water.
You want some water?
No, I've had water.
So
I've
we'll
had
save-
so much water. It's time
All
to
right.
pee.
So we'll save Indiana Jones for when Steve is in here?
Yeah.
All right, Magic the Gathering.
Oh, yes. This is a good story.
MTG.
So Magic the Gathering, it looks like the TV series is going to go, but the
Netflix.
Netflix.
The Russos are doing
There
it.
you go, Netflix with the Russo brothers. So that's another, like, back to Roxy's point before. You keep doing deals like this, you're going to keep keeping people around.
Yep.
So you guys know that I, for many, many years, dated a Magic the Gathering pro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
You become a pro when you are competing and you get those pro chips,
Crazy.
whatever it is.
Is he really good?
He's dirty. He's really good. He does a whole podcast on
Yeah.
it. But
dirty.
Magic the Gathering took
Dirty
over.
and a compliment.
Right,
He's
right.
really good.
Yeah.
Magic the Gathering took over my whole world
Okay.
for 4 years.
So you learned it a lot.
No.
No.
I learned. I looked at all these cards. I refused to play, but
see.
I did see. It was my whole living room, my
Right,
whole
right.
everything. So I have a lot of love-hate for Magic the Gathering at this moment.
The way you felt about the Schmoedown for a little bit.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Similar to Magic the Gathering. But I am excited for these Magic the Gathering fans who have been, they've been playing just the tip for too long now, and they need the real deal.
This is it. So, and getting the Russo brothers, that's, anybody right now, they've been the hot ticket for a long time here, but now they're the super hot ticket with closing in on maybe the most profitable movie of all time, but at least the number 2 worldwide.
Do we know if they're fans?
I'm sure that
players.
I'll tell you what. I'm sure that they are because it looks like they were legit fans of the Marvel universe. They knew a lot about it. I know they're legit fans of Star Wars. They're in the most adoring way possible. They're geeks, and that's what you want. So they're going to be doing it. I think it's a good move for Netflix and for Magic the Gathering fans. All right, we're going to take a break. When we get back, we're going to have comedian Steve Byrne in to talk about Always Amazing, about the amazing Johnathan, his doc that he did, plus other stuff, the goofy times I'm sure he had with Ellis, and we'll talk about Indiana Jones after the break.
Hey guys, Reilly here, and let me tell you about Rule of Two. You looking for a Star Wars fix? Well, Rule of Two is that show. It drops on Collider Video's main YouTube channel, as well as on Podcast One's Jedi Council feed. So go over there, subscribe, share it with your friends. It's hosted by myself and Mark Fernandez. We talk everything in the Star Wars universe with a lot of deep dives and a lot of conversations that go all in. You know what to do. Subscribe, join us there, and rise.
Hey everyone, John Roca here, the host of Collider Mailbag. A new episode drops every Saturday and Sunday in your face and in your ears, answering the questions from you fans about the world of entertainment, film, and television. Me and great guests from our sphere do the best to answer your questions from Twitter, from Instagram, and of course, email as well. Once again, it's every Saturday and Sunday on the Collider video feed, and also you can listen to us on podcast, on the Movie Talk podcast feed, every Saturday and Sunday.
Hi, I'm Coy Jandro, host of Collider Heroes, and I'm here to tell you we've got 20-minute episodes coming at you on Collider Video, on the YouTube, as you've always loved it. Plus, now we've got hour-long podcasts dropping every Thursday, so make sure to subscribe to the podcast because it's going to get even more sweaty on the podcast. Plus, every week, we're going to try to get some very special guest interviews, all of the people that help shape these movies and TV shows you love. So, video, podcast, interviews, all coming at you. Be sure to subscribe. Thanks so much, guys. Stay sweaty.
Hey guys, Perry Nemiroff here to let you know that The Witching Hour is all over Collider right now. You can listen to that Horrorville podcast with myself, with Haley Fouch. We talk about witchiness, we talk about slashers, we talk about space horror, you name it, all on that show on the Collider Factory feed. We also have clips on the Collider Podcast YouTube channel, and on top of that, you can find an article all about Witching Hour every single Tuesday on Collider.com. Check it out, get scared. Hopefully you survive the Witching Hour.
What's up, Collider fans? Ryan Satin here from ProWrestlingSheet.com, where you can find the top stories throughout the week in the world of professional wrestling. If you're a wrestling fan like myself, then you'd be doing yourself a disservice by not checking out all the shows we do every week on YouTube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet. In particular, on Wednesdays, we've got a SmackDown recap show hosted by John Roca and myself, where we pick apart and talk about every little thing that happened on the Blue Brand. So do yourself a favor and go subscribe at youtube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet.
Hey guys, Perry here to let you know about the new edition of Collider Movie Talk. We are going to 5 days a week. We have a short, sweet 20-minute show where we focus on the two biggest stories of the day. You can expect to see all of your favorite Collider personalities on the show, including Jeff Snyder, John Roca, Haley Fouch. You're getting Josh McCouga every Friday. We're going to have a blast. It's going to be informative, fun. Come join us. 3 p.m. PT live every single day of the week, right here on the Collider Video YouTube channel. You can also find the show on the Collider Movie Talk feed on our podcast network, so go watch, go listen, however you prefer to get all of your movie news.
Hey everyone, Jon Roca here, the host of Collider Sports Time. Well, you know, if you've been watching us every week, you know we break down the latest and the greatest in the world of sports, talk about the big issues, the big games, all of it with a rotating band of guests like Matt Nose and Josh McCouga. We've had Taylor Bisciotti on. We've had so many great guests. Now, if you want to see more of Sports Time or you want to try it out for the first time, remember to subscribe to Collider Sports YouTube channel. Hey, if you want to take us along with you in your ears, you can go and subscribe to the Collider Sports podcast feed for all the sports goodness.
Hey guys, it's Reilly here. Let me tell you about the Reilly Roundtable. You know it, right? It drops every Thursday on Collider Conversations, and I have guests from all across the space. John Roca, Gray Drake, Alexander Desplat came on at one point. We talk everything from movies, we talk about life, and everything in between. What do you want to hear? What do you want to talk about? It's the Reilly Roundtable every Thursday on Collider Conversations. You get it there.
Hello, how are you guys doing? I'm Kristian Harloff. I'm the host of Collider Jedi Council. We talk about everything Star Wars, and if you want to catch our weekly show where we talk about the latest and greatest in Star Wars, it's movie news, it's canon, it's all of it. We take questions from you guys. How do you do it? Main channel, that's right here. Subscribe to this channel, and you can listen, you can watch, you can do all of it, but if you want to just listen to it, you got the podcast feed too. Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is, you can listen to it in your car. Do all of it. It's Star Wars. Episode 9's coming out, and then after Episode 9, you got TV shows, so we're going to be your sports center for Star Wars. Do it. Come on. Be real.
What an entrance! What an entrance here as we start the second half here at Collider Live.
You call him Dr. Jones, doll.
Don't do that today. Ladies and gentlemen, join us today. Comedian Steve Byrne is here. What's up, brother? How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man, for sure. Obviously, I want to talk to you about Always Amazing, which you talked about last time when you were on here. You kind of set us up for it a little bit, that you were working on it, but now it's coming out. It's coming out today, yeah?
Yeah, later on this afternoon.
Yeah.
We're going to put it up, and pretty excited, yeah.
All right, we're gonna get kind of deep into this thing because
okay.
Yeah, we're gonna get deep. We're gonna talk about our feelings. But no, over the weekend we were talking about it. You went to Vegas. You're hanging out with Ellis and Bert Kreischer.
Yeah.
That's got to be pretty crazy. What was going on?
Well, let's just say it's a lot of hydration today.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Getting those electrolytes back in.
Yeah. A lot of Coors Light when you're with Ellis.
Ellis is great. I mean, he's a great courtesy laugher.
Yeah.
But then when you actually make him laugh, you know when you actually make him laugh.
Yeah, you can see it. You hit it
every
like a button.
time we go out with him. I still think of it because I came in like if I was like a junior in high school, Ellis was the freshman. So every time we go out, it's like, no, I'm paying. I got you. You keep your babysitting money. And he kept insisting. He's like, no, I'm a big boy. I'm headlining. And it was just, we were hammered. And I go, oh, Mark, you'll always be that little boy I met on Tatooine. And he actually like gut laughed. And I was
That's
like,
the way to his heart.
Yes.
Yeah, you went right to his heart.
I
with
made him
Star
laugh
Wars
this
for
time,
sure.
yeah.
It's funny because and then Bert I've known since college. Like Bert.
You went to college
Florida
together?
State. Yeah.
Wow.
It feels like everyone went to Florida State.
Well, Bert, that's where Bert, they did like a whole Rolling Stone article about Bert.
Before Van Wilder,
right?
But that was based off of him.
He was like the first Van Wilder. And what was funny about that is, and Bert's told the story on his podcast, I was...
And every other night.
Every other night, right. But what's funny, and he never remembers anything. Like, so he remembers parts of the story, and then he forgets a lot of the story, right? So we performed...
He's a great witness, is what you're saying. Yes.
Depends on what
the defense
crime.
rests, Your Honor. Bert, shut the fuck up.
Right. It's true. I was there. Were you? I think I was. But he and I, like you said, I was performing at this place called Potbelly's in
not the sandwich place, right?
No. It was a bar. So he was his first time going up ever, and I talked to him.
You were there the first night he ever did stand up?
Yeah, we were on the same thing. So he came up to me, and I saw him drinking. I go, we didn't really know each other well, but you don't want to get hammered on the first time you're doing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I did that, and it was at this little jazz thing, and then I stepped off the back and fell off the back of the stage and I looked like a moron. I said you want to have all
first time,
first time, but there was no one there. It didn't matter. But the fact that he said it always stuck with him, and I heard him tell the story 1,000 times.
Oh, that's nice.
But I've been looking forward to I want to get him on this show.
Yeah.
And we've been trying to go back and forth about me going on there, so I just haven't talked to him in a bit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. I mean, he really is a hard worker, and it's
He
so
is.
nice to see him actually like all that hard work paying off.
He's blown up. Yeah,
he's
doing good, man. But we're not here to talk about Bert. We'll talk about Bert some other time.
Yeah, we're here to talk about me and Ellis hanging out at Coyote Ugly all weekend, which is where all the locals go, by the way.
Is
That's
it
what
really?
No.
I was like, oh my God.
Can I ask an unrelated question
Go
first
ahead.
before we move forward? How does somebody pick that jacket?
This jacket?
It is
Yeah.
so
Love it.
To anyone listening on podcast, it's got like caterpillars and
It's,
plants on it.
dragonflies.
Dragonflies. Oh, okay.
So this, you don't wear these when you work in a cubicle and you're punching numbers, right?
No, for sure not.
When you're a comic, you get to wear stuff like this.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Especially in June,
Maybe.
apparently in LA, it works too.
Yeah.
I kind of love it, but also need it explained.
I love it. So here's the thing, okay? My favorite band of all time is Oasis. It's my Van Halen, if you will. And so Liam Gallagher has this incredible clothing line called Pretty Green, and it's just all these cool parkas, and I wear them every day. I don't care if it's August, I don't care if it's October. I just love them. So that's where I got this.
There you go. I mean, like
Wow.
yeah.
That is a better story than I even
It is.
expected.
But like I said though, with the freak weather that we're having, you're probably still a little cool.
Yeah,
wearing-
or my mom made it for me before she died.
Oh, and then I just did what I did.
Yeah, and now it's really
What a
sad.
bummer.
I could do that too.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
I'll tell you the truth.
You guys taking.
I would be impressed if she
Yeah.
made that, though. That's a piece of art.
Hardware.
It's something else.
It's a piece of art.
Picking up right where we left off. I like that with you too. But it was fun. You couldn't stop talking about Always Amazing. You
Yeah,
couldn't stop.
I really couldn't. It's so great because I
Well, thank
didn't know who he was except for the last time you came in here and
Sure.
you were sharing with us. And I don't know whether that's ignorance on my part or
No.
whether it's a
Youth.
but I didn't know who he was, and now I feel like a super fan based off of your work. So that has to be one of the goals going into it.
Yeah, I think there's like an education process because he was so kind of prevalent and relevant at the time when Comedy Central was kind of coming on the scene. So, then you go to Vegas and he became a headliner, kind of, fell into, I think, complacency where he's just raking in the dough. And
Right.
why do you need to go to LA to film TV spots when you're making millions at these casinos? So I think, there was that notion of like, especially at the beginning of the film, saying, "Okay, we just got to show a bunch of clips to let people know who this guy is."
Yeah. So how did you meet him the first time? You guys performed together?
The first time I met him was when you're featuring, especially at the beginning, you're not making jack, right? So what they did was I left New York City and I worked back-to-back weekends at Charlie Goodnight's in North Carolina. And the first week was Brian Regan. Then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday I stayed there. And the second week was the amazing Johnathan. And Johnathan and I just saw him. I was like, oh my God. Much like I was with Regan the first night. It was like crazy. But actually, with Johnathan, I got to hang out. I think Regan was kind of in and out, family guy doing his thing. And then his assistant Joel, who's obviously in the film quite a bit, is a huge Oasis fan. We bonded. We're trading bootlegs the whole weekend. And I just hung out with them. So the first time I ever had a TV set was for BET's Comic View. And I crashed at Jonathan's place the first 2 or 3 times I came out to do Comic View. So that's how I got to know these guys.
Yeah, because you have to. I was saying to Rox that you guys have to be pretty damn close because his story, which we'll talk about here in a second, of what he's going through or gone through, you got to really trust somebody to tell that story. So there's got to be an immense trust for him for you to say, because you've directed a feature film, already.
Yeah, this came
beforehand.
first.
Oh, this did come. You shot
This
all
was
this. So this
first,
was
yeah.
the first thing that you ever really kind of went into all the way through. So then that leads into this. Then I guess it's not a convincing, but he's got to really trust you to say, yeah, I want you to tell the story.
Yeah, but he's also a drug addict. So when I called him, I'm like, yeah, I can do this. He's like, yeah, cool, man. All right, great. And so, that's how it all kind of happened. But I just thought, for those listeners that aren't aware of necessarily the story, Johnathan, just this kind of Freddy Krueger of comedy, rock star comedy, really just a wrecking ball on stage and made his presence known, and Vegas headliner. So 5 years ago, he was given a terminal diagnosis due to cardiomyopathy.
So that's 5 years ago now.
Yeah, it's been a bit, yeah.
Wow.
It's a
'Cause in the doc,
degradation of his heart.
3 years. Now it's been 5.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
5 years total. So he basically, his heart is slowly dying.
Wow.
So I think he's at like 40% right now. And it's, year by year it goes down.
Yeah.
And so you combine that with drug addiction, diabetes, it's a perfect storm. It's like you got a year to live.
Right.
And he outlived expectations. And at the time the film occurs, he was retired from performing, comes out of retirement, and wants to see if he can still have it. So when I heard about it, just as a friend and as a fan, coming through the grapevine, I was like, oh my God, what a great impetus to tell a story about Johnathan, but I also knew him and Joel's story. And I just thought, that's such a, it's like a Rick and Morty kind of, it's like, it's so unorthodox.
It lightens it up, too. It
Yeah.
lightens it up just because, like you said, when he shows up as a kid, and you're like, well, what's he doing here? But it's just as opposed to like this fact that this impending thing that he's got. Yeah.
So did you start this when you knew he had a year to live? It was after, because in the doc you don't know that for a while.
Sure.
So,
and that was something narratively, like, do we spring this early on? And we tested a bunch of different versions, and for us, we found if you teased it a little bit at the beginning where Johnathan says, I'm retired from shows now, and then in the middle you find out, so that's kind of our midpoint, it was just stronger narratively. And I was against it for so long, but again, it's just like stand-up comedy. The audience will always tell you what works and what doesn't.
it was the perfect choice.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you.
Well, that's right. And the thing, because of stand-up, and because, I've known you now for like 15 years. And you're one of the most hardworking stand-up comedians that's out there. And obviously filmmaking is a passion of yours. There's a lot you got to be able to do mentally, and I'm sure emotionally this was really tough for you too. But like combining that into then still work, because you're still working, you're still doing stand-up during all this, yeah?
Doing stand-up. Well, the crazy thing is that I'd done this, and we thought, okay, we're going to be kind of, towards the tail end of it. And then the opening act got financing, and it was like, all right, the train's leaving the station. Right. We have the Bray Improv to film that. So that's a film I wrote about my early years in stand-up, produced by Vince Vaughn. And it's just like, oh, God, I'm doing this now, too. So when we're in the final stages of this, I was in the opening stages of the opening act. So I was trying to spin both plates at once. And somebody who's never made a film ever in his life, now I've got two, and it was just it was a lot.
Forgive
it
me
still is.
If this is insensitive.
Yes, it's okay, Roxy. Yes. I'm here for you. Yes.
When you were filming I'm Always Amazing, are you nervous that he's going to die in the middle of filming?
For sure. That was a big concern because he had not done an hour. He had not done a full-blown hour. And as you know, after you see those opening clips, he is manic, and he is very high energy. And so, I interviewed everybody, asking them, what do you think, of Johnathan returning to stage? And some felt comfortable, like Penn Jillette was just like, if he dies, it's probably what he wants. And then you have people like his mom, it's just, she starts sobbing. So it was a real concern for sure. And even on Joel, I think before we made the transition into, okay, we're hitting the road, that was one of the last things Joel says. It's like, it's of great concern to me. So I was definitely nervous for Johnathan. And the thing that we couldn't get, because the lighting is so bad backstage, when he was actually doing that show, the first one was at the Chinese restaurant. The second one was at the Wilbur Theater in Boston. His wife, Anastasia, comes out in the middle to do like a needle through her arm, which she's literally putting in. It's not like sleight of hand or illusion. She's literally doing it. And Johnathan, that was done on purpose to give him a breather. And he came off stage, and we had a chair set up. He couldn't even make it to the stage. He literally was laying down in the wings. And the lighting was so bad, we were filming it, but we couldn't capture it. So, and I'm kind of glad. I also don't want to show that representation of him as well. But he was in a bad way for sure.
What did he think about the finished product?
Well, it's like you said, I think early on, when you're giving the keys to somebody's life, and this is a love letter to his legacy and his career, you just want to do right by him. You're like, God, I hope this guy's proud of this thing. And so we went and showed him like the final version he has like a little theater in his home. And I showed it to him, and he just said, oh, I love it. And he got up and walked out. And I thought maybe he's emotional because he's emotionally a little recluse and introverted, much like Joel is. And that's why I had them do that exercise with the letters. Where I was reading on a plane this exercise where people write a letter about how they feel, or somebody did something nice for somebody, and then they, instead of sending it to them, they show up at the door and they read it to them.
It was
I just thought, what a cool exercise.
Insane part of the movie.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my God, it touched my whole soul of that.
Thank you. Yeah, because they're not forthcoming. They wouldn't do something like that,
Right.
So it
but
was.
they felt awkward. You could tell that it was very not natural.
But did you have to fight them to do that, or they were okay?
For sure, Johnathan. Yeah. But the last day, he kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And then the last day, he's like, all right, I'll do it. And he actually showed up and he did write some things, which I was like, okay, good. He wasn't winging in it, you know.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's another question though too, because I mean, it's, you know, this guy who's going through this horrible shit. Like, if he wants to give you shit, if you're working with somebody, an actor, and they give you shit, you're like, dude, I'll recast someone else. You know, it's like if this guy's just giving you shit, you just let him give you shit and then wait for him to calm down and come back, right?
Right.
Yeah. I figure that's got to be the.
And it's tough with Johnathan too, because he is somebody that's constantly joking and constantly giving you shit.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the first day I got there, we were all eating lunch, and I got up to use the bathroom, and I came back, and he dumped a whole thing of salt in my iced tea, and he's just constantly pulling tricks. You're just, you know, he's making noise like this and pretending to crack his neck. He can't stop with this little tricks and stuff. He's great.
And he has a wife that tolerates him like nobody I've ever seen before. Was she the actual best? She seems like she is a one-of-a-kind human being.
Look, I'll be completely blunt and honest. Johnathan would not be here today if it wasn't for Anastasia. Yeah. That's for sure. I mean, that part where she goes through all the drugs he's taking on a daily basis, you know, she pulled out the thing. I was like, oh, we got to film this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's lazy. He's not going to take his insulin. He's not going to go to the doctor. You know, unfortunately, they said, you know, you got to amputate your foot here at some point. And he's just, no, I'm just wear a boot. And he just does that. And the thing that we had in the film that we took out because it didn't feel right for me. But the reason he's alive, I think, is because he's taking stem cells from the black market from Mexico.
What?
Shipped up to Vegas, and, you know, like a doctor's handling it for him.
Yeah.
So I think
Are you being serious right
I
now?
swear to God, that's what's repairing his body in an unorthodox way. And I don't think it's like specifically targeting, you know, for an example, we had something in the film where, again, due to time, you know, you throw some things out that are kind of interesting, but he basically lost his toe. He lost one of his baby toes, and he said...
How do you basically lose your toe?
Well, because he's diabetic too, you know, there's the loss of feeling in his...
Right. So they had to get...
the lack of circulation due to the myopathy. So he said one day he was out by his pool, and his toe just fell off. And he doesn't have feeling in it, right?
Holy shit.
It just falls off.
Roxy.
So, Roxy, I'm sorry, but you asked, okay?
You did ask.
So what happens is he goes to see this doctor, and the doctor injects stem cell into the nub, and eventually this... form of a toe grows back, but it's not a toe. So the doctor has to like whittle it into the shape of I'm so sorry, Roxy. This is why I took it out, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Because
I'm with you.
my wife had the same reaction when we're watching. I was like, maybe we can get it.
But keep telling. It's fucking crazy.
So I think that's why, you know, that's an element of. My wife was the same way. I'm like, I got it. I think you should take it out. She's like, it's kind of.
But it's crazy. The stem cell part of it though is crazy. I mean, that's that's a whole thing, because that's maybe the question is like, how is he still around 5 years later? Like you believe that's a big part of it.
Yeah, and part of me, just out of foresight, I didn't want to put it in because I didn't want somebody watching this in Vegas, some authority figure, and going, "Who's this doctor?" And then they go and from here I am telling about it, but I think if it's in the film, it's a little different. So
I was thinking that a couple of times in the movie, though. Like, is he ever gonna get in trouble for any of his antics, or is that just gonna kind of be the way it is?
I don't know. He's like Wyatt Earp at the end of the Kevin Costner, just bullets grazing and zipping and by, and just he's somebody that just, you know, dances with wolves. No,
I was gonna say, you don't see him more like Doc Holliday.
Yeah. That's true.
He's more Val Kilmer in Tombstone.
That is true.
You multiple times address some of his drug use in it, but where is he now with that?
He's still, he's a drug addict. I mean, he makes no bones about it. That's the wonderful thing I think about Johnathan is he's so accepting of who he is. He's so comfortable and accepting of the decisions he's made. And I think at this point in his life, he is absolutely accepting of knowing that he has limited time on this earth. And I think that was something when, you know, you're filming this thing and you pack up the bags, you pack up the suitcases, and you leave for the day after interviewing him or you watch him. There were times where I definitely got emotional. When I first saw the trailer, I got deeply emotional and I cried because, you know, this is my friend at the end of the day as well. And to know that he enjoys drugs. He enjoys the lifestyle. He enjoys, it's just like that part where he's talking about his heroes have always done drugs, like the Beatles. And here's people who haven't done it, Richard Marx. And he goes on that little run, which is funny. But he unequivocally is all in on the lifestyle he wants to live.
Especially at this point. At this point, also, it's like, you know, if he stops now,
His body will go into shock.
Yeah.
But he's been working. Now he had a year to live. He's lived 5 years. He's made so much progress. Don't you think not smoking crack would maybe help him live longer?
I don't know. The doctor said if you went cold turkey, you would die. And so he makes a joke about it. It's like, all right, well, you heard it from the doctor. And he continues to go on with the life he wants.
And how does his wife feel about that?
I think that she's not happy for sure. I mean, in the film, she makes reference to the fact that she's like, you got to take your medicine. You got to do what the doctors tell you. But he just doesn't. And she's the reason why he's still here.
She's so chill and matter of fact about everything she says to him, though.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, well, got to take care of him, got to give him his meds, got to stand by my man, and just keep doing it. Did she ever have a breakdown moment that we didn't see?
I got to be honest with you, no. I mean, she's a rock. She's a really strong woman, and I think you have to be with not only Johnathan's personality, because, I think the transition you see is that Joel comes into Jonathan's life and is kind of like his rock, his relationship. He's keeping Johnathan on the straight and narrow. And the minute Joel gets his life together and gets Johnathan on track, he departs, and then Anna comes in and provides that the more meaningful relationship, I think, in terms of love and, what between a man and a woman, and they got married and stuff. So I think there was a replacement there, which I think narratively kind of worked. But she's absolutely amazing for him, I think, for sure.
There was a wild story about his first wife, too, and how they ultimately got divorced. That kind of blew my mind.
Yeah.
Did it really feel like he had...
Can you give a little background?
Yeah,
cool.
it sounds like he was going along in this relationship, thought it was going fine, was checking in with his wife, are you happy? Yeah. And then one day she was just like, done, getting a divorce, can't do this anymore. And he saw none of it coming, had no idea, no semblance of
How long were they married?
They were together, I think, quite a few years. Not long.
Right.
But I think at least probably like 5 somewhere there.
That's still a while. So to get blindsided. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think he's also at the time he's in Vegas, he's in a fog, he's doing all kinds of drugs. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. Like even his mom mentioned, she could never tell when he's on him, and I'm around him, and I couldn't tell when he's on him. But I will say this: like after those shows in the montage at the end, when we're talking to Johnathan about how it went, you could see his eyelids are like drooping and he's barely staying awake. He was absolutely exhausted after he did those shows. It took every ounce of energy for him to come back.
In general, like healthy people, you do that many shows, you're exhausted. And the fact that what he's doing, man, that's pretty crazy. So guys, check it out. And Steve, so where can they find it when it comes out? Because it comes out today, a little later on today.
Comes out this afternoon, yeah.
And where?
I think around 4. So you just go to YouTube.
Okay.
Type in Always Amazing. You could see the trailer right now. But as of like 4:30, somewhere in that time frame,
it's going to drop.
It's going to drop this afternoon, yeah. So you can watch it tonight. It's for free. It's on YouTube. And I just ask, if you're movie fans, doc fans, share it.
Yeah.
You are putting this for free on YouTube.
Yeah.
How are you recouping your...
Okay, so this is an interesting facet, I think, of like the filmmaking process, right? I think when you're doing it, you do it out of passion, right? I think when you find a story that speaks to you, you're like, I would love to be the conduit to this story, especially Joel's one of my best friends, and I love Johnathan. So you start going down this rabbit hole when you make it. And then you were like, oh, I got to get the archival footage. Oh, gosh, okay. So you got to go to Detroit to get all that. And then it's like, we got to process and convert all the John Candy set from HBO and the Letterman set. Right. And then, it just starts spiraling out of control and all the money starts, you got to spend it. But it's like, do you want a great product or not? And so when you hit this crossroads, the reality of the business comes into play where it's like, I've had so many friends make documentaries. I've never made one, but now that I'm on the other side of the business, I think you're left with a decision where, okay, I could put this on on a platform that people rent. Right. People will rent the film, right? But then it's like, am I going to get a nominal return, maybe a minimal return on my investment? And you
want the eyes and the ears.
I thought, I want people to see it. Yeah. I'd rather people see it than make a few grand back. Right. Because I went down the rabbit hole in the hole, but it was never about the money for me. To me, it was just like, I'm I'm really proud of it, and I just want people to see it. That's really it.
But I think that's also when you look at it, when you got your feature film that Vince produced, you got this one, but now you've done a scripted, you've done a documentary for your friend here, and then you have other things that you could do, and it's getting your feet wet too, more and more as a director.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's also I think that it makes sense to put it on YouTube first, because like you said, even if you make back $3-4 grand, but not enough eyes see it, then the mission of people knowing more about Johnathan is kind of like it just doesn't happen the way you thought it would.
Yeah, exactly. And look, a lot of lessons learned for my first doc ever. So if you want to make a doc, hit me up. I'll help you. Whoever it is, because look, I mean, these days, if you find something passionate about, you get a good group of friends, you film it, you can edit in your garage. I mean, that's what I did, and here we are talking about it. And I never thought in my years.
You edited this in your garage?
I edited the rough pass of it with Jason Dallas, who is our DP, and then Brian Getz was the actual editor of the film. You know, we gave him a rough pass, and then he just did wonders with it. So he just did the Steve Bannon doc that just came out at Sundance. He's had a few films. He's got the Roger Stone one that's on Netflix. He edited that. So we had an incredible editor on board with us that helped us really construct a great narrative for sure.
Well, that's fantastic, guys. Once again, make sure that you go and check out Always Amazing. That's going to drop on YouTube a little later today. And go check out the trailer right now. The director and comedian Steve Byrne talking to us. And we got some more stuff to talk about here because, Reilly, you in the booth?
Yes, he is.
Okay,
Hold
cool.
on.
So
He's making the lap.
I want to get everybody's opinion here on Harrison Ford's comments, where he was, he's doing Secret Life of Pets 2, and they're asking him about Indiana Jones, and Reilly said something pretty interesting.
He did, and the story was then updated.
Yes.
So
does that mean it was corrected?
It was corrected.
Okay, I don't even know what it is.
To go off of now.
No, what was it? So the original report was the fact that he said we start filming next week.
Yeah, it's now next year.
So he just misspoke.
He misspoke.
It's very close. Week, year,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it happens sometimes, but
it's just 51 weeks off.
This is 51, exactly. Well, I mean, at least we know it's coming next year, because it was just the way that he was saying it in general, to where he's like, "Yeah, I'm pretty excited. It's coming along," and we start filming next week. So, well, all right, let's go, Indy. What are we gonna do?
He probably read the headlines and was like, "What are they talking about? I didn't say that."
I know you're goofing up top, but I think I heard rumors that Short Round's actually coming back.
Come on,
I'm not even bullshitting.
For real?
Yeah, those were the rumors.
I get to bust out the Halloween costume again. I'm super excited, man. But now I look like him now. So it'll be, yeah.
Do you think Indiana Jones 5? Do you think it's something that should happen? Can they make it work?
I'll say this. I grew up at a time I love Star Wars, but I love Indy more than I love Solo. Mm-hmm. So I love Indiana Jones films. The theme, everything, I just get. I'm like anything. Even Crystal Skull, it's like I'm still seeing an Indiana Jones film, and there's still some things. And when he's putting the fedora on, it's just like the first time I saw it, I got chills. I'm like, yeah, anything you have.
He's still pure, is what he's saying when it comes to being in the movie space.
But you're
still
saying
pure.
you love the character more, is what you mean? You like Star Wars better than Indiana Jones, but you like Indiana Jones better than you like Han Solo.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I am absolutely on board for anything they do. And I'm sure that they'll find a way, they'll craft a way to honor the legacy and the character, and especially where he was. And I like what they tried to do with Crystal Skull. There were things I enjoyed. I mean, look, I didn't like the monkey swinging either, but
the refrigerator. I mean,
I still got to see him.
It was, I have a lot of issues with that movie, but I think that the next one they have a chance to do it a little bit differently, because there was, again, reports that Spielberg did a lot what George did because they're buddies, but it's not the thing that he wanted to do. There's Frank Darabont, who had a script a long time ago for the fourth one that just George didn't like, and apparently it was fantastic, and whatever. You hear these things that just they weren't on the same page.
But wouldn't you rather see a good Indiana Jones film instead of nothing?
But I don't think it was good.
You didn't consider it was
good. I actually didn't believe that Harrison Ford was Indiana Jones this time. I felt he was Harrison Ford, just kind of. Why am I here? That's where I thought that was going to happen with Solo and Force Awakens, but to me, he that was Han Solo. Like, he came back and he was Han Solo. But he didn't seem like it.
Do you think Han Solo is closer to who Harrison Ford is than Indy?
No, I think Indy's probably closer than Harrison is, which is funnier because because he just seemed tuned out. He seemed like Bruce Willis in every movie Bruce Willis is in now. He's just not. That's Bruce Willis.
Just phoning it in.
Yeah, and so. I think that this time it'll be different. I think that this time we're going to have a lot more. And I don't think that George Lucas and Harrison Ford have ever really seen eye to eye. And I know that Lucas had a lot more to do with Crystal Skull. He got nothing in this one from what I hear.
What makes you say that?
That he has nothing to do
That
with
they've
him?
never seen eye to eye.
Well, it's just the conversations that they get along. They get along, but I think that when it comes to creatively, even Harrison Ford's been very outspoken about even that.
It's like the Mark Hamill, Rain Johnson kind of dynamic with Last Jedi, where
a little bit more than that too, to where because he said, you can write this shit, George, but you can't say it. Like that type of stuff. He's always been, and Harrison Ford's not the type of guy that you can command, so he is going to go and improv a line of "I know" when he's not supposed to, because George hated that. George hated it.
I love you, I know.
Yeah. George hated it, and it was one of the best moments in Star Wars history.
And on every single T-shirt you see now,
ever.
Yeah.
And
every couple in Disneyland is wearing that.
Yeah.
I think they have a good respect for one another, but I don't think that Harrison's taken acting. You've heard. I mean, even when Peter Safran was in here and he was talking about how George basically didn't even give him any notes. It just sounded evil when it came to. He's not an actor's director. He just never have been, and Spielberg is.
Right.
So, and I think Spielberg and Lucas were working together more so in the fourth one. I think Spielberg will be doing the heavy lifting in this one. I think we'll see a pretty good product out of this one. I'm hoping.
I hope so. I love Solo though too. So
the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't like it?
It's not that I didn't like it. I thought that I just thought it was a very different. I didn't feel, and I've said this before, and I've gotten pushback on it before, but I think that Alden Ehrenreich did a phenomenal job.
It was great.
And I thought
Did you like it?
but I thought that he was. I just didn't feel like that was Han Solo. I just thought it was a different character.
How did you feel about how he got his name?
Yeah.
That was my favorite part that nobody else liked.
Oh, you did like
I
that.
loved
I
it.
couldn't stand
I
it.
was
can't find anybody
indifferent
else.
to it. I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
it's cool. Yeah. I thought the movie was great. I loved it. I thought, all those new ones that have come out, I would go Rogue One, then Solo, then then the first one, Force Awakens, then Last Jedi.
Yeah.
In that order.
Oh
I would do that.
man,
But what is yours?
I like Jedi best.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
This is why we don't get along.
I'm Force
This is why
Awakens.
it'll never.
I'm Force Awakens, Rogue
Never
One.
The one that got away.
Yeah, Force Awakens, Rogue One, then Solo, and then Last Jedi.
Last Jedi. Yeah. But look, I still love them all.
No,
I'll still
I know.
watch all
Yeah.
of them. I love Star Wars.
The new one's going to be. I think the new one's going to be crazy. The new one because now
Crazy in a good way.
Palpatine. Yeah, crazy in a good way. Palpatine coming back.
Yeah.
Very. I mean, I think that. I think it's what JJ's going to do because JJ has taken all his moments from what he wanted to do in 7, and then he's going to close up what he wanted to do in 9.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's in good hands, and I think also like sometimes like when the backlash from Indiana Jones or the backlash from Last Jedi, they're like, we gotta get this right.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying in these writers' rooms and production meetings. Like we gotta nail this thing.
You don't think they feel that way every time?
No, because I
gotta
think
get
like
this
even
right.
with the Johnson Last Jedi, I think in interviews I've seen, it was just like, no, I want to make the film I want to make.
Right.
I don't care about appeasing the fans. It was pretty adamant about that.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what happens.
Do you
when
like
you're-
that attitude or no?
I respect it. I definitely respect it. I could understand creatively why you'd want to do that, but I think that when you have this Goliath of a product, I think that you do want to somewhat service the fan base and not upset them.
But to be fair to him on that one too, he was given the keys to the car.
That's why he was given it to
and they
him.
told him, they said just drive it.
Yeah.
And they didn't tell him where to drive or how to drive. They just told him to drive, and that's what they did with JJ, and that's what they did with him. And so I don't really blame him for that because he made the movie he wanted to make.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of like I always wanted to, and I think we're gonna get back to it. There just hasn't been enough connective tissue.
Yeah.
And I think that we're gonna get that in 9. That's gonna connect a little bit more.
Yeah.
Would you be excited to hear that Rian Johnson was working on a project that you liked?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I think Rian Johnson is a brilliant filmmaker.
Great.
Looper is incredible, and I think that
Looper's great.
Yeah, and one of the things because of what Steve just said that where it's this connection and somewhat you do have to do somewhat of a fan service and because there's certain things that Star Wars fans like want, right?
Yeah.
But I think that if you gave him. There's so many expectations of how you handle Luke or what's going to happen with Rey or whose parents are, who's Snoke. There's all these expectations that won't be there if you did give him something completely different that no one knew about. Like if you gave him one of these movies that Benioff and Weiss are doing, if it is Knights of the Republic or not, Yes, there'd be pushback at first because people have strong opinions on The Last Jedi. But I think that he's a very solid. Brick is incredible.
Brick's great. Yeah.
And he's a good storyteller. And I think that I would be, and not even just Star Wars in general. I'd like to see him make more movies. I'm a big Rian Johnson fan. I think he's a great filmmaker.
But I think like Ready Player One's like servicing the fans too much. I think in terms of it was just overload, Easter eggs, and all that stuff. But I think you do want to kind of like, wouldn't it be cool if we slip this in and appease the fans?
Right, and I think we'll get that for sure in 9. But once again, guys, we're here with Steve Byrne, just talking movies. We want to have you guys call in if you have a chance. Cody, if we get that number up on the screen, you want to ask some questions to Steve or just in general about what's going on. Throw that number up there, and Reilly, maybe get the Facebook group going, and we'll field some questions. So. What else was going on there too? There was another. Oh yeah, Dark Crystal. You didn't get a chance to talk about it either, right? Did you see the trailer for it yet?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I have to be honest. Don't care.
You don't care.
But that wasn't my jam.
Like
that wasn't my jam growing up. So that wasn't my thing.
Did you watch Dark Crystal when you were younger?
I saw it, but I agree. It was just something that as a kid I didn't like necessarily connect to. But I also didn't have HBO when I was a kid. So I know that it was playing constantly on HBO.
They did put it on HBO a lot for sure.
I missed out on Fraggle Rock.
Story.
Everybody was
that one's good too. I'm surprised that there was rumors at one point that Peter Jackson was going to remake Neverending Story, but I don't know what happened.
Neverending Story, only 98 minutes.
Is it really?
So false advertising. See what I did there? It should be.
It should be never ending. Wait, what did you mean?
You know what I mean.
All right, Cody, you got anybody?
Not right now, Derek.
All right, thank you so much.
But are you seem excited about it?
I am excited about Dark
Can you tell me
Crystal.
why? Get me excited.
Yes. Well, no, because first of all, it was one of Jim Henson's greatest. I really think it was. And the fantasy element of it, I thought it was ahead of its time for when it came out. It was creepy, but it had a nice mythology. It had a good lore, and it was really. I think it came out like 82 or something along those lines. And that genre, minus Star Wars, it didn't have like this geek culture that we have today. That was so like that type of movie today. If it debuts, I think if the great Jim Henson was still with us, and I think Frank Oz is involved in it too. It'll pop, and I think, and even looking at what they did inside of this trailer, it was very true to the original. And I know it's a series now, but I actually think it fits. I always like this is what I think is so great about the streaming services now is that it gives these opportunities for a lot of different properties to expand more. You get Star Wars is going to have more shows, Marvel's going to have shows. You get the Doom Patrol, you have all this stuff that you can, instead of just doing 2-hour movies or an hour and 45 minutes, you have a series now to develop characters. And I think Dark Crystal can benefit from that.
I got a buddy who is one of the characters on Mandalorian. And I had dinner with him, and he said, he's a real straight shooter.
Name drop.
Bill Burr.
I don't know if I can say. Well, I know Burr's in it, but Burr doesn't care about it. Burr
he's only
doesn't
in
care
one
about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Bird does not care that he is in it.
No, he
job
can care
for
less
him.
about Star Wars.
Yeah, it's a
and
job
that's
for
probably why he got it.
Yeah.
Well, who's the other one?
My buddy Rio Hackford.
Yeah.
Taylor Hackford's son.
Oh,
is in it,
cool.
and I had dinner with him, and I didn't want to be that. I'd rather. Even if somebody's in it, I don't want to know. I'm like, I just want to wait. But I said, honestly, what do you think of this thing? And he doesn't BS at all. He's like, he goes, Guy, it's gonna be awesome.
Can't
Wow.
wait. Did you watch the footage from it when it?
I didn't get to see any of that. No,
Because it feels so original trilogy. That's
what he said. He said that, and
Well, I'm sure. Because you and Vince Vaughn are tied. Have you had many run-ins with Favreau?
I've run into him quite a few times. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
because that dude, you're talking about a Star Wars fan. He's a massive Star Wars fan. So what he's doing right now with the Mandalorian is going to be, I think, groundbreaking shit.
Yeah, that's what Rio said. Yeah. He said they hired the perfect guy because he knows everything about this. The comics and everything. Like he's in tune with it all. And just to the degree where it's like super technical about obscure characters mentioned in a video game or something.
Great.
So I think he's going to be a great.
That's right up my alley. That's what I've been looking for.
You just made Christian's day.
Yeah, that's what I've been looking for.
Boner alert. Bing, bing,
I've been
bing.
looking forward to it. All right,
The
Cody,
table
you
is
got
up.
something? All right, okay. Hey, you're on Collider Live. Who do we got?
Tommy from New Jersey. How we doing?
What's up, Tommy?
Hi,
What's going on,
Tommy.
brother? So what do you got for us today?
First, I'd like to say that I'm going to New York August 31st.
Oh,
I'm really excited for
Excited to have
Tommy,
you, man.
congratulations on making that 45-minute trip from Jersey.
It's for the Schmoedown.
Yeah.
that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, good. I'm good.
Roxy, congrats on The Odd Couple.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Do you think I'm going to win Manager of the Year?
Oh, for sure.
Wow. Kaiser
There we
might say
go.
something about that.
Well,
You can talk about Kaiser later.
yeah.
All right. Okay. Sorry. So what do you got for us, Tom?
So who are some of the people that when you did comedy, you not were scared to go after, but some people that you really respect and you think were really, really good at comedy, whether they're a comedian or someone that just destroyed the crowd?
Is that for that's for both or for Steve?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, Tommy, first off, let's lose that attitude. I don't know where it's coming from. I mean, you got a really harsh tone about you that I don't appreciate. I would say this. The first club I passed at was at the Comedy Cellar in New York City, my first official New York club. So I was nervous as all hell because at the time, Chappelle's show was on the air. And he'd always come in at 1 in the morning. And that's when my spot was.
Oh, yeah.
So I was always like, well, I'm staying and doing my set. Because I don't care. I'm here. I waited from 11 to 1. I'll wait another 2 hours because Chappelle would go till 3.
Right.
So that was kind of the thing that taught me to follow anybody. I mean, you're following the biggest comic probably in the world at the time, and certainly still one of those top comics for sure. Yeah. So I just kind of got over it pretty quickly. But in terms of like comedians I saw when I was younger that I really respected, my two favorites, well, probably 3 were Geraldo, Jim Norton, and Bill Burr, because they all had a defined voice that was so them and so opinionated, but they were the same way off stage as they were on stage. Just this really, really smart, quick. And I was like, I got to get to that someday where I can be like having your voice,
right?
Just knowing and defining your voice. So,
well, yeah, that's the thing is because it's just the way that comedy works is that. And it's not a disrespect. It's just you've seen there are a lot of comedians that go up and you've seen their sets, and it's not disrespect to them. You're outside, you're on the patio of the Comedy Store, and you're just talking, and like, oh, so and so's up, great. Let me know when he's off. I'm going to go up. And there's other comics that you just kind of drift in because you got to watch them.
Yeah,
you got to watch what they're going to do. Even if you've seen the set a million times, like how are they going to do it differently tonight? Like Sebastian's always been a monster. I mean, Sebastian's been a monster.
Always been quoted in the halls of the Comedy Store when he first. Everybody would walk past you. Apple martini.
Right.
And
it just said porn star, and they don't talk. I
can see your asshole.
right. And so when I got past the Comedy Store in 2002, and he was just starting to kind of really get the spots and make the moves. And Cap was another one too. You know, like those guys were. You just watch them. But my favorite guy at the time that I'd always have to watch.
Thank you, by the way,
Steve Byrne.
I see where this is going.
Steve
All
Byrne.
right, come on, buddy.
It was. But no, it was James Painter. Do you remember James Painter?
Yeah.
James Painter, who never blew up, but he was just because I think he quit comedy. Him and Holtzman. Do you follow Holtzman on Instagram?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
He's
guys,
crazy.
if you aren't following Brian Holtzman, he's got like 1,200 followers, which is a crime.
Yeah.
Follow Brian Holtzman. He's a lunatic. So Brian Holtzman, as far as following, you know, as a young comedian kind of coming up in that store, and then you'd get 15 minutes and he'd light you and you're out. Or Rogan, man, because Rogan would come in and he would do 45 an hour, and he had earned it, you know. And Rogan would come in and you'd watch him, but then you got to go up right after him. He just did an hour. It's 12:15, and now he's high energy.
Right,
he's big. So you've got to be there, and you've got to say, okay, you want to stick with me.
Yeah,
and it makes you fight for it. So it was challenging, but it was also it was good.
Yeah, I mean sometimes the toughest guys to follow are guys that aren't known, because there's the element of like, yeah, you got to follow Seinfeld, you got to follow Rock, or you got to follow Chappelle, and there's that notion of these people like, oh my God, this person's on this plane that's so much higher than me, ascending, you know, heights in their resume that everybody knows, and then there's like these high energy acts that are cool hand Luke. They got nothing to lose, so they're going to go up and just give it their all. And you're like, oh man, it's just 15 minutes of rock solid killer stuff, and then you got to go up and follow that guy. Sometimes that's even tougher than following a bigger name.
Absolutely, because you just don't because the crowds could be tapped out then after that.
Sure.
And it's your job to get them back. And sometimes, you know, a different energy can actually work to your advantage.
Yeah,
you know,
like Sam Tripoli is somebody that comes to mind, like back in the day, especially so high energy.
Come on, people.
And so funny. And Tripoli, it would either kill or bomb.
Right.
There was like no.
Painter was the same way. Painter was the same way. But anyway, thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it. Got anybody else, Cody? Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, you're on Collider Live. Who do we got?
Hi, this is Gio calling from Bakersfield, California.
What's up, Gio? How you doing? What do you got for us today?
Yeah, yesterday, the debut of the Ford versus Ferrari trailer
Oh, yeah.
came out during the whole NBA playoffs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just wondering about your thoughts on that, because I am a big motorsports fan, and to me, the last great motorsports movie was Rush,
yeah.
by Ron Howard
Yep.
back in 2013. So looking at this between Christian Bale and Matt Damon, to me, initial thoughts on this trailer, it looks really good.
Thanks, Joe. What do you got?
Completely agree. This is so up my alley for a bajillion different reasons. I can't wait for this.
Yeah, I did think of Rush when I saw the trailer, you know, and Christian Bale's one of my favorites today, and Matt Damon's another one to see those, just to see these kind of heavyweights kind of going back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this one. It wasn't on my radar, you know.
And I'll tell you what's great is Adam Carolla did a documentary called The 24-Hour Race about the Ford-Ferrari battle.
Really?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's one of the... I went down this Adam Carolla documentary rabbit hole recently where he did that, and then he did one on Paul Newman. And Paul Newman...
I saw that one.
It's phenomenal.
It is.
It's great.
And I remember when he was crowdfunding that, he asked for $100,000 from his fans on a Kickstarter, and I think in 24 hours raised $3 million.
Wow.
To make that. It was like a juggernaut like that. I mean, it was insane. People just wanted to support and see anything he has to do. What a crazy beast of a thing he's created.
But you forget it. Like the great thing about that doc for me, and the Newman one obviously touches on it, but then the 24-hour race one is you forget that at the time when they're developing all these cars that are going speeds that nobody's ever achieved before, there's not the safety protocol that were issued. So.
Yeah.
I mean, today it's life and death, but I think the risk is a little less minimized with like the neck roll or whatever that they instituted after Earnhardt or whatever. But they really show how
daredevil shit, man. Yeah.
dangerous it was back in the day. So especially that race, just all these guys driving 1 hour shifts, each one over the course of 24 hours and maintaining your course and speed, and how Paul Newman almost won it.
Yeah.
They almost won that race, and he was racing. I think he started at 46 or 47. Is that what they said?
Yeah, something like that.
And became one of the best, legit one of the best.
And closer than people even realize.
Yeah.
It was so close, yeah.
All right, let's do one more, and then we'll call it a day. Cody. All right, hey, you're on Collider Live. What do we got?
Hey, guys, this is Luke calling from Chicago. How are you?
Luke, what's up, brother? What do you got for us today?
Well, I'm a relatively new fan of Collider Live, and my question is really for all you guys, but mainly for you, Kristian. I know that
Well, thank you. I'm ready for this. Yes.
Yeah, sorry, Steve. But I know that for you, Kristian, I know that you said before that the more that you've seen The Last Jedi, the less that you like it. And I know that you've mentioned things like the Canto Bite thing and the dynamic between Finn and Rose. But what are some other issues specifically that you have with The Last Jedi that really have just rubbed you the wrong way?
I can't wait to dig into this. Thank you so much for that question.
What a fun question.
I know it's the end. I think that just look, like I've said it a few different times. I just think that the movie, to me, I compare it to what I think Shane Black did with Iron Man 3. I thought it was a great Shane Black movie.
But not a great Iron Man.
Yeah, doesn't fit. No, not Iron Man movie.
Marvel
MCU.
movie. Sorry.
And I think that that's the same type of thing for this. I felt that it was a Ryan Johnson film as far as an overall film. Great, really good film. There were just too many things when I watched it again. I rewatched it with my daughter again, and then I found myself kind of not looking forward to the jokes that were coming, and not looking forward to some of the character choices. And the more that I watch it, the less and less I like the angle with Luke. And I think that I would have probably it's like Rocky V, to where when Rocky V, at the end of the movie, if Rocky V fights in the ring, if he fights in the ring against Tommy Gunn, it's a better movie. All the shit in between, if he fights in the ring at the end, it's a better movie. If Luke lives at the very end, if he says, "See you around, kid," and then he hops in the Falcon with the rest of them, I think it's a better movie.
But you didn't like the dramatic groundswell of Rocky fighting Tommy Morrison in front of a Quiznos at 2 a.m.
It wasn't my bag. It wasn't my bag of chips. But
Last Jedi, I will say, it was the only Star Wars film. I think rarely do you sometimes you go online, you're like, what the hell was that? And you just kind of like, what did that mean? And it was the only time where I saw a Star Wars film where I Googled stuff afterwards, where I had to kind of like figure, like the Rey stuff. I was like, what does this mean? And sometimes you Google those things and you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like after 2001, which I still love visually, but there's things where I don't understand what the fuck's going on here?
Right.
So you Google it, and then you read about what Kubrick was trying to. Oh, wow, you really respect that, right?
Sure.
And then this was one where I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Even after getting the information and understanding what was trying to happen, I still will watch it, but I
Yeah, I get it. I mean, and somebody mentioned the other day too, where when I saw it the first time, I said to myself, I got to think about it. I went back the second time, and I thought I was like, I really enjoy it.
But that was the first time I ever did that with a Star Wars film. Where I was like, I gotta sit on this one.
Yeah.
I never did that before.
Well, I sat on it.
I
went
loved
back.
it.
I know. I went back, thought about it. The second time I saw it, I was like, because I appreciated a lot that he did, and then it just kept sitting with me. And it is what it is.
This is the first time I didn't go to Coldstone afterwards and celebrate at the ArcLight Pasadena. I was like, I got to go home and Google stuff.
What's your poison there?
I keep it basic.
Oh,
I go waffle cone, chocolate, rainbow sprinkles.
Well, why are you
I'm
at
44.
Coldstone then?
Excuse me?
Because you got to.
I don't like the swirling. Yeah,
You got to put the stuff in it.
Yeah, I
don't
love
go to Coldstone.
sprinkles.
No.
They have peanut butter over there? Chocolate peanut butter?
Of course
All right, fine. I got to go.
They got everything at Coldstone.
All right, well, you got a show. So that's it. That's the show here, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank Steve Byrne. Once again, go and check out Always Amazing. It's going to drop on YouTube later today. Always Amazing, directed by Steve Byrne. Steve, you got any dates coming up that people can see?
A ton. Brea, Nashville, Raleigh, North Carolina. But I ask your fans, just follow me at Steve Byrne Live, and I'll be updating everybody on the opening act as well. That film about my early years in stand-up that'll come out, I think, later on this year. We'll see.
Please do that, and you got to come back, and we'll
Thank
shoot
you
the
guys
shit
so much again for having me.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry I got a little serious this time. But I was trying to be a lot more respectful to the relationship that we have. We didn't really get to delve into that.
I think
we have a thing.
I think you guys. I think we broke ground. I think we broke ground today. I think we did good.
I think so too. Yeah, we kept it professional today.
We tried.
Yes.
Then out there, though.
And I want to thank you guys once again. Get your tickets over to Schmoedownlive.com for the Collider. Did I say I said it? The Schmoedown Collision on June 22nd. And then July, we're going to be at Comic-Con. And then New York in August. So far, so good. Starting to pick up. So, guys, check it out. The Schmoedownlive.com. We'll catch you tomorrow.
Boom! Yes! Perfect timing again. 3 days in a row, Alex.
Oh, yeah.